Hi, my name is Amy Foster, and I would like to take a few minutes to share something with you that has been a burden on my heart for the last several years. I would like to talk to you about human trafficking. This all started when my husband and I were watching a show on Dateline, and the show was talking about people who had been caught in this human trafficking, and it explained what human trafficking is and just different things that happen to people and how it ruins many lives. And so as the show progressed, they showed different raids that the police were going into different buildings, and they had come across on this one building, it was a massage parlor, where they ran into this woman and they started questioning her whether she was okay, how she felt, what was going on, if she was caught in this trafficking, and the woman through the whole time just kept on saying she was fine, there was nothing going on, but you could just tell by looking at her that there was great fear on her face. And it was just kind of eye-opening for me, just the amount of fear that was going on there. Well, the show went on, and then it said a week later because there was nobody who reported that they were being trafficked, a week later, they couldn't do anything with the people who were there, so the police couldn't press any charges. So she basically went back to these traffickers. And a week later, when Dateline went back to go interview this woman again, she was no longer there. And I guess this happens to be one of the tactics of the traffickers, is they move people from place to place so that they don't really build relationships with people, and then that way they can keep them caught in this terrible crime for all their lives a lot of times. Well, this situation for me became very real actually the very next day after watching this show with my husband. My grandmother called me up and said that she wanted to get her nails done, and so I said, "Sure, Grandma, let's go." So I took Grandma to the nail place, and Grandma had seen this girl once or twice before. Her name was Sandy, and she was from Vietnam, and Grandma loved connecting with Sandy, and she started to build a little friendship with her. And so I dropped Grandma off to get her nails done and ran some errands and came back to pick her up probably about an hour and a half later. And then we went out to lunch, and while we were at lunch, Grandma mentioned to me that she was really sad that she wasn't going to see Sandy the next time she was going to get her nails done. And I asked Grandma why. Well, Grandma went on to explain that Sandy was going to be moving back to Vietnam, and I guess she had left her 2.5-year-old son over there, and she was going to be going back to basically raise her son. And when Grandma was telling me this, I started to think about all the times in the past we had gone to Grandma's nail place, and there had been several people who Grandma had seen, and they were no longer there. And this has been going on for at least a couple years. I was thinking back in my mind, and then I started to think about Sandy and what Grandma was saying, and it just kind of my eyes just felt like they were being opened to the fact that maybe Sandy was being trafficked. And so this whole idea is what do I do? Who do I contact? Do I tell the police? And is this even really happening? It was one of those things that I wasn't even sure what to do with the information. And then there was this kind of like fear, like, what if it's nothing and I just totally make a fool of myself if I do call the police? So what if it's nothing and this woman her story is real? So something happened that day. I do know something happened that day. My eyes were open to a new truth that hadn't been there before. Unfortunately, it was too late because by the time I figured out what I should have done, Sandy was no longer there. And of course, there was no way to find out where she had gone to. And I guess that's why I feel so desperate in sharing this message, because there are so many Sandys out there, people that we see day to day that are being trafficked and we don't even realize. So this is where I'm asking for your help. Number 1, pay attention to the signs of human trafficking. Keep your eyes open to the truth. Number 2, when you see something or you feel something isn't right, don't be afraid to call. Don't be afraid to leave a message on the website. Maybe you were like me and you're not sure if that person is being trafficked. Go ahead, go the extra mile, make the call. You're not going to get in trouble. Wouldn't you want someone to call if it was you or your daughter or your son? Wouldn't you want someone to make that call? Please, just make the call. You're not going to get in trouble. Last but not least, continue to pray for people who are caught up in this terrible way of life. This is no way to live. And remember to be a voice for those who have no voice. Thank you.